What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Sean O'Malley reacts to Israel Adesanya getting exposed. Ahead of UFC 290 on July 8th, streaking middleweight contender Dricus du Plessis has exposed the last stylebender Israel Adesanya for stretching the truth while discussing a training session the two had in Thailand many years ago. According to the middleweight champ, du Plessis got the better of him in the grappling rounds. However, when it came to the striking rounds, he returned the favor. During a recent interview leading up to his International Fight Week title eliminator with Robert Whittaker, du Plessis called Adesanya out, alleging that the two never did any striking rounds together. During a recent episode of his Bro O'Malley podcast, Sugar Sean O'Malley weighed in on the situation, concluding that if the training session occurred when both men were still early on in their professional careers, it makes little difference in the present day.
The thing about that, dude, especially that long ago, it doesn't even matter what happens in the gym, especially if it's just grappling or if it's just kickboxing. It's like gym, that doesn't necessarily translate into a fight, into a cage, into that big moment when you guys fight.
Yeah. And
it was a long time ago. Izzy probably was just kickboxing.
While du Plessis could punch his ticket to a title shot with a win over Robert Whittaker, the odds currently have the former champion as a heavy favorite going into the contest. Despite that, du Plessis is adamant that he wants to earn his crack at the belt by fighting the #1 contender. On the flip side, Whittaker is eager to derail the streaking contender's hype train and earn himself a trilogy fight with Adesanya in hopes of reclaiming the 185-pound strap. With the stakes at an all-time high heading into UFC 290 next weekend, how do you see things playing out between these two middleweight contenders? Drop your predictions in the comment section below. Former champ thinks Yair Rodriguez is tougher test for Volkanovski than Islam Makhachev. From the sounds of things, the MMA community is predicting that featherweight kingpin Alexander Volkanovski continues his reign at UFC 290 by defeating Yair Rodriguez and unifying the 145-pound championship. Despite that, former two-division champion Henry Cejudo believes that Yair Rodriguez's unique combination of skills and athleticism could pose a far more significant challenge for Volkanovski compared to Islam Makhachev. During a recent video for his YouTube channel, Triple C spoke about the fight just over a week out from the bout, saying,
"But I think if Yair could really hone in on a lot of stuff that I was talking about, just athletically gifted, if he's able to do it right in that fight, I do believe that Yair Rodriguez is a much different fight than Islam Makhachev, and maybe for that reason, I think it's a lot tougher fight because this man's gonna throw a lot more kicks. And if you take him down, he's gonna be a lot more vicious on bottom."
As Cejudo went on to say, if he had to give a prediction for the fight, his money would be on Yair Rodriguez, considering the fact that Volkanovski has rattled off 4 incredibly dominant title defenses at 145 pounds and has yet to lose at featherweight. Many fans were perplexed by his prediction. At the same time, however, this isn't the first time a notable figure in the MMA community has predicted an upset. Recently, former title challenger Chael Sonnen spoke about the fight, saying that he believes it has all the makings of a big upset. With fight night rapidly approaching, we want to hear from you. Who do you think gets the job done in the main event of UFC 290? Drop your predictions in the comment section down below. UFC Fight Updates. UFC President Dana White has dropped some big news pertaining to the welterweight division. In addition to the September 16th Mexican Independence Day card featuring a rematch between Valentina Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso, White also revealed that Kelvin Gastelum will be making his return to welterweight at the event. Standing across from him in the octagon will be none other than undefeated contender Shavkat Rakhmonov, who is fresh off a third-round submission win over Jeff Neal back in March. For Gastelum, who recently picked up a controversial decision victory at UFC 287 over Chris Curtis, the fight will be his first at welterweight since UFC 200 back in 2016. In addition, Triple C Henry Cejudo also revealed this week via Instagram that he's been forced out of his upcoming UFC 292 fight with Marlon Chito Vera in Boston. According to Triple C, a recent MRI on his shoulder revealed a tear that will require 6 to 8 weeks of rehab. Given that, and his wife expecting a baby on October 25th, he has made the decision to withdraw from the fight. With that being said, Cejudo still has his eyes on another opponent when he returns, Merab Dvalishvili.
At the end of the day, like the guy that I still want, #1 contender, his name is Merab. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And who knows, guys, there could be a special matchup between me and Brandon Moreno if you guys think about it.
Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Israel Adesanya slams Chael Sonnen. Talk of a potential clash between Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg and Tesla founder Elon Musk has continued to dominate conversations in the MMA community. While UFC President Dana White works behind the scenes to navigate the obstacles that stand in the way, fans have been split when it comes to support for the fight. Recently, former title challenger Chael Sonnen stated that he spoke to Mark Zuckerberg on the phone. According to the American Gangster, Zuckerberg told him that he had agreed to fight Elon Musk at UFC 300, which is expected to take place in either April or May. Zuckerberg's team was quick to refute the claims, saying that the Meta CEO had not spoken to Sonnen on the phone. Quickly, Sodiq Yusuff and Israel Adesanya took to Twitter to crack jokes at Sonnen's expense, with Yusuff facetiously confirming the news by stating that Zuckerberg called him too. Middleweight champion Israel Adesanya then jumped in on the joke as well, saying that Zuckerberg spoke to him too, while posting a screenshot of a DM where he replied to a story of Zuckerberg's with the Futurama "shut up and take my money" meme. So far, there's been no word on whether or not the fight will take place, as well as no word regarding what the UFC 300 headliner could be. Sean O'Malley and Brendan Schaub make case for whether or not Conor McGregor returns. So far, there have been no further updates regarding Conor McGregor's return to the octagon. While the former champ was expected to return before the end of the year for a fight with Michael Chandler, there have been no significant updates regarding when or where the fight may take place, despite the fact that Iron Mike has stated talks are happening every day. Given the questions regarding McGregor's USADA eligibility, many have wondered whether or not he will ever return to the octagon. During a recent episode of his Bro Malley show, the bantamweight #1 contender expressed optimism about McGregor's return, all while discussing the Irish star's recent tweet and delete referencing the fight.
Yes.
You do?
Yeah. Conor's gonna fight. Yeah.
Really?
Hit a couple bumps, get in there. Yeah. 100%.
This week also saw former UFC heavyweight Brendan Schaub make the case for McGregor never returning to the octagon. On the Schaub show, the UFC vet weighed in, saying,
"No, they're not fighting." Yeah, I'm finally convinced that it's probably not happening. And the Ultimate Fighter ratings are so low. And Conor literally doesn't give a
Yeah.
Like even Wonderboy Thompson, he went there on the last episode to help him coach. He's like, "Are you actually going to coach today?" I think he didn't mean to say it, but they put up it's on tape.
With all of the speculation regarding McGregor's return, do you think we'll ever see him return to the octagon? Drop your thoughts in the comment section down below. And now for our breaking news story of the day. We have the MMA community going off on Khamzat Chimaev. It's been 293 days since Khamzat last fought in the UFC, and fans on Twitter aren't happy about it. One fan said this: "He had a difficult time against Burns, realized there's levels to this game," with two other fans calling him out for using steroids. They said, USADA suspension, they don't have to publicly announce them now. That or terrible visa issues, and definitely got popped for PEDs. And another fan is accusing him of wasting his prime time in the UFC. Waste of prime. Why do you think Khamzat has been out of the UFC for so long? Is it the money or something else? Let us know in the comments below. Jamahal Hill goes to work matchmaking for top light heavyweights. Fans have been eagerly awaiting news on when Jamahal Hill will return to the octagon to defend his light heavyweight title. While theories have continued to fly regarding a potential clash of champions with Israel Adesanya at UFC 293 in Australia, it sounds as though the UFC is still planning to book a fight between Hill and Yair Rodriguez later this year. During a recent interview with Middle Easy, Hill broke down the 205-pound division and shot back at critics who say that the division is weak. As Hill explained, with he and Yair Rodriguez matched up and Alex Pereira and Jan Blachowicz matched up, there's still some exciting fights to be made with top contenders.
I think they can book Magomed versus Johnny Walker. That'd be a good fight. Krylov is supposed to, Rakic is supposed to be back. You can have Rakic go up against a Krylov. That's a good fight. You know, so you telling me? So people are saying that the division is weak, but you telling me either one of those fights take place, you don't want to watch those.
Yeah. Based on the latest updates from Yair Rodriguez, it sounds as though he will not be ready to return to the octagon until after the summer. Although he initially was targeting a return as soon as possible in order to reclaim the light heavyweight title, he explained in an interview back in May that he wants to be 100% for his return, and wants to have made improvements on his game during training camp rather than jumping into things as soon as he's cleared to return. With plenty of pay-per-view opportunities for Hill and Prohaska to compete before the end of the year, how do you see things playing out when the two men meet inside the octagon? Drop your predictions in the comments section below.